This video is about the 5 questions that changed my life, which I know is a very ambitious promise to make, particularly on the internet, but it's one that I'm reasonably confident that I can deliver on because these 5 questions genuinely changed my life. How's that for clickbait? Questions. The reason that I think questions are important is because your brain naturally will answer whatever question you throw at it. In my very dumb guy understanding of a brain, this is one of its jobs. So if you ask your brain all day, why do I suck? Your brain is going to come up with the answer because of this, and this. Next time you fail, next time you do something that you don't like, your brain's going to say, oh my God, some more answers for that question. It'll cherry pick it as evidence, turn it into a core memory just like an inside out, and all of a sudden you just walk around believing you suck. So if you change that initial question, you can change how you feel. And I think that that self-worth is worth examining. And that is why I'm making this video. These are the 5 questions that have helped get my brain out of the bad zone and into the good zone. We'll start with question 1. How is this the best thing that's ever happened to me? I got this question from Tom Bilyeu, who, if you've ever fallen down the self-improvement rabbit hole, you will have seen on YouTube. He is the founder of Quest Nutrition Bars, later Impact Theory, and later Impact Studios, which make a lot of comic books. What I like most about him is how much time he has dedicated to improving his thinking systems, and it really comes across in his AMAs. He does this Q&A show where people send him in questions and he answers them. One thing that keeps coming up though is anytime somebody has a question about a negatively life-altering event, for example, a divorce, trauma, they got fired at work, or maybe they had a life-altering accident, he always says the same thing. Ask yourself, how is the worst thing that's ever happened to me the best thing that's ever happened to me? I love it. I love it so much. And I love it so much that I applied it to my life. I said, what's the worst thing that's ever happened to me? Or at least one of the worst things. And for me, it was, and I don't usually get this personal, so this might freak a few people out, I was sexually abused as a child. And when I put that into the question format, how was being sexually abused as a child the best thing that's ever happened to me? All of a sudden my brain, which is designed to find these answers, has to find an answer to that question. And the answer that I've come up with is, it's given me the gift of empathy. The ability to empathize with people who've been victimized, people who've been preyed upon, or people who have been mistreated. And without that level of empathy, I wouldn't be able to connect to so many people, and if I couldn't connect to so many people, then I might not be as fulfilled, because I do believe that all those things lead to each other. And as Tom Bilyeu often says in his AMAs, fulfillment is the punchline. But it's not always the worst thing. Sometimes it's just a bad thing. Sometimes it's just a thing. How is this thing the best thing that's ever happened to me? I'll give you a slightly more relatable example. So about a month ago, drugs and alcohol, as a disclaimer, don't play a huge role in my life anymore. But a month ago, I saw a friend of mine and we got stupid drunk, like dumb high school drunk. And I hated it. I hated it. When I woke up, I had the worst hangover of my life, like a category 10 hangover. Like, put a drip in me, I am done. And as I was throwing up bile into the toilet and apologizing to my fiance in the other room, I had to ask myself, how is this the best thing that's ever happened to me? The only answer that my brain could give me is, this hangover would be the best thing that's ever happened to you if it was the last hangover you ever had. If you, after this, stopped drinking. So I did. Apart from one tiny little annoying glass of red breaking my perfect streak, I have not drank this month. It's been the most sober month of my life since I was 17. So maybe it is the best thing that's ever happened to me. And that's why it's on my list of questions that have changed my life. Question 2. What would this look like if it were easy? I got this one from Tim Ferriss's list, the 17 questions that changed my life. He worked a lot harder than me for them. I just took one of his and made only 5. Anyway, one of his questions, the one that I like the most, is what would this look like if it were easy? And I love it because immediately it addresses a belief that I think a lot of us have about work, and that is, it is a hard thing to do. Sometimes there is just a struggle and you cannot avoid it, and sometimes that struggle turns you off. But that struggle is in your head, man. And by asking a question when you look at a big project, maybe it's something you've never done before, maybe it's something that just feels a little bit too big for you, and you say, what would this look like if it were easy? And just like that, your brain has to look for answers. So to apply it to your life, I'll just take a random example. Let's say you wanted to make a board game. You would have 2 columns. What would this look like if it was hard? What would this look like if it was easy? If it was hard, you would need other people to help you with the idea. You'd need to hire an illustrator, a game creator, somebody to help write the instructions. You would need to get it funded. You'd need to get it into game shops. You'd need to get it on the Comic-Con circuit. It'd be a whole thing. If it was easy, you'd make the entire thing yourself, probably stick it online, and then make some ads online for it. Your actual answer might be in between those two, but it shows you where some of the traps in your thinking might lie. For me, I noticed that every time I ask this question, I'm putting an unnecessary amount of struggle on whatever it is that I'm trying to solve. So that's why that one changed my life. Question 3. Will it make the boat go faster? This one comes from a guy called Ben Hunt Davis, who was on the Great Britain rowing team. These guys won gold in the 2000 Olympics in Sydney, just down the road. Basically, he said at every juncture, every decision that he had to make, he would ask himself, will this make the boat go faster? So if he's staring at a juicy burger and a beer, or if he's staring at the salad and the water, he goes, which one makes the boat go faster in a year's time when I have to race in the Olympics? Having the salad now. So the way that you can apply this to your life is by rewording the question around whatever it is that you're trying to do. The trick is not to overthink it. Keep it simple, keep it short. If you are somebody who makes movies, let's say you want to be the next Martin Scorsese, your question might be, will this make my movies better? Do I make the short film or do I smoke weed all day? Well, which one makes the movies better? Now let's say you have a connection to make and the decision isn't so obvious. Let's say you're on the phone to the customer service person about your internet and you are just fuming because nothing's going your way. You've had a bad day, you got every red light and you're about to let him have it. You know in your head that it's not that guy's fault that your internet's slow, but you just want to yell. You want someone to know your frustration. Will yelling at the customer service guy make your movies better? Let's work backwards. To be a big director, you probably need to be charismatic, likable, a people person, and very patient. All of these are qualities that you can practice and cultivate within yourself. By not yelling at this person and practicing being patient and kind, you'll reinforce to yourself that you're a patient and kind person, which over time will make you a better director, which in the end will make your movies better. So it makes the boat go faster. Which leads to question 4. What would the ideal me do? This question is a bit more tough love than it is self-love, so this might not be for everybody. Take a piece of paper and make 3 columns. The first column will be everything that you did in the day. The second column will be the bad you, and the third column will be ideal you. For the bad you write the worst qualities you can think of, all the things that you hate about yourself. Mine says, cruel, unhealthy, drug-addicted alcoholic who gets angry at the world while squandering his own potential. The trick here is to beat yourself up. Then, underneath ideal you, write literally everything that you want to be. Mine says, fun, energetic, funny, sober guy who loves to share the things he's found and genuinely loves other people. It's worth noting that this is an extremely false dichotomy and one that could be quite dangerous if you are not using it with that in mind. Now, the way that you use this is by putting everything you do in a day into that first column. Then you decide whether that action casted a vote for the bad you or the ideal you. I hit snooze on my alarm and woke up at 8. That's bad me. But then I didn't look at social media all day. Well, that's good me. I drank way too much coffee. That's bad me. But I didn't drink alcohol. That's good me. At the end of the day, you count the tallies. Whoever's winning is the person that you are becoming. Now, the way that you can get more tallies in the right-hand column and become the ideal you is by simply asking yourself, what would the ideal me do? Would the ideal me respond to the guy who cut me off in traffic by holding my horn on for 10 seconds? Or would he give him the benefit of the doubt and say, heck, maybe his dad's sick? Would the ideal me stay up for 3 days on cocaine and bad conversation? Not anymore, baby. So that's what you do. You just follow that answer. Question 5. How is this my fault/responsibility? This question is about 1, finding blind spots, and 2, taking extreme ownership over everything that has ever happened to you. So for the blind spots part first, this is how is everything my fault? Let's take a pretty normal example. You get in a bit of a confrontation, a bit of a disagreement at work. They're the bad guy, you're the good guy. Only in their head, they're the good guy, you're the bad guy. We all know how that works. The question you ask is, how is this my fault? Now, you start to see the blind spots that maybe you didn't see before. You might think, oh, shoot, I guess I am a bit passive aggressive when I write those emails. Maybe they are smarter than I take them for. And that's nice because that moves things forward into a more harmonious place. Now that's fault. Let's take responsibility. How is everything my responsibility? I find that this question works really well for things that have happened to you. So I'm going to take the ultra extreme example that I used in question 1. How is being sexually abused as a child my responsibility? It just is. It would be easy to call myself a victim for life, but I don't want that life. Instead, what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to answer that question. How is it my responsibility? It is my responsibility to heal. It's my responsibility to go to therapy. No one's going to go to therapy for me. It's my responsibility to forgive the abusers. No one's going to forgive them for me. It's my responsibility to strengthen how my brain works and to strengthen my sense of self-worth. Nobody's going to do that for me. And as soon as I take that extreme responsibility for the darkest parts of my life, that's when things start to look a little bit bright. Oh, isn't that nice and sunny and happy? Yes it is, to answer that question. Now that is a pretty extreme example, so let's take it to how you can apply it to your life in a more everyday capacity. Let's say you've got a business and it's not doing as well as you want. You might be tempted to blame your business partner, blame the market, blame your customers, or heck, even blame your parents for being poor and not being able to fund your dreams. But if you ask yourself, how is this my fault? You might start to find how you can improve, how you can be better, and how you might be able to fix the business. Then you ask yourself, how is this my responsibility? And you realize that all the problems that you've outlined are actually within your capacity to change. You are not powerless at all. In fact, you are the opposite of powerless. It's your freaking business, man. It gets you out of the blame game and into a much cooler game. The game where you take responsibility, fix stuff, and then you get something that you cannot fake no matter how much you try, and that is self-respect. And that is why that question has changed my life. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you for your time. There it is, the 5 questions that changed my life. Let me know what you thought. Let me know if you liked them, which ones stood out to you, which ones you're now going to apply into your life. And also, heck, if you've got some questions, I would love to know. I'd love to know what questions that you asked yourself to give yourself a better quality of life. Other than that, if you liked it, stick around because there's a lot more coming. Catch ya.